Instructional Designers in Offices Drinking Coffee is brought to you by Domino, makers of Domino One, the cloud-based authoring tool for e-learning. Learn how your team can work together better at domino.com. Now, here's this week's episode.
Christmas, everybody. We're getting a little bit of feedback from you there, Kevin, but it's okay. Two theme songs are better than one. Well, it's another Wednesday, folks. How's everybody doing? I got some weather reports coming in the chat. What are we seeing?
It's going to snow in Florida. I think that's what they're saying. Yeah.
It was cold in Arizona this morning. We had 32 degrees, so we had some ice, nice little sheet of ice covering everything. That was fun.
Yeah, we got a nice little sheet of ice and about 3-4 centimeters of snow on top of that. And a big snowstorm heading our way starting tomorrow. Going to be very Christmassy here all of a sudden.
Whoa. We like Christmassy. And speaking of Christmassy, Chris, we've got a guest doing Christmas stuff with us. Who's chatting with us today?
Folks, it is another episode of our Drink and Draw series. We won't ask you what you folks have put in your cups this morning. That's a secret. You can take that to your grave. We won't judge. But as always, on the Drink and Draw episodes with us this week, we have Kevin Thorne. And I mean, I know lots of folks have probably already had a chance to hang out with us in the Drink and Draws. But Kevin, just in case we've got some new folks, give us an introduction to yourself.
Kevin Thorne. Hey, everybody. So glad to be back. I love these things. It's Drink and Draw. It's turned out to be almost like a brand, if you will. It's kind of fun. We just get together in the morning and, like Chris said, no judging on what you put in your cup. And by the way, maybe a little spiced rum in my coffee this morning, but I'm not telling. And we just doodle, we draw, we look at graphics, we look at things to create things, and whether it's drawing. Today we're doing a little bit of drawing and graphics, so a little holiday spin.
A wee bit of a holiday spin because, but also just to keep everything tied into the work that we do. I don't want anybody to think that they're like wasting their time today, that Idiotic is some sort of frivolous show. It is definitely not, despite the goofy looking guy talking into the microphone. There is a lot of work that we do in PowerPoint and a lot of art that can be done in PowerPoint. So we're going to take the magical skills of Nugget Head and just like apply it to the PowerPoint and come up with something fancy and
we're gonna try anyway.
Fun. Whew, that was hard for me to get out. Sorry, Chris, take over.
Depending on how much time we have, we can do it. Let's see. Hang on. Let me double check something on my end. Just for those that, oh gosh, where's my thing? See, right when we're going to go live, things start moving around. Here we go. There we go. Is it right here? No, it's not right there. Keep talking, Brent. I'm looking for something.
Okay. No, Chris, quick, Phil.
Well, Pam's noting in the chat there that PowerPoint's a great tool for creating images representing concepts, and I totally, crack open a PowerPoint anytime I want to map out an idea that I need to share with people quickly, particularly if I want to share it with people who are more skilled than myself, to make it actually look good and pretty and all of those important things. So,
I've seen some of the PowerPoint or some of the graphic art that Kevin does with PowerPoint, and it blows my mind. I mean, I do shapes and put text in it and stuff like that, but he does better.
Well, it turns out that PowerPoint has somehow rearranged my toolbar, and I'm restacking things. So hang on just a minute.
Dino's asking, should we open a blank PowerPoint? What the heck? Do it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Play along at home.
Do it and work it along. Yeah.
Here we go. Found it. Hang on.
All right. I've also seen a message in the chat that my microphone's a bit crackly, so
It is a big crack.
Yep, still crackling along. But it's the holiday fire episode of my microphone connection.
Yes. Ooh, I've got a video of one of those fireplaces. I should just sort of pop that in the background, huh?
Yeah, Teresa. Yeah, great. Bright Carbon is probably number one on the top 10 list of PowerPoint graphics that I'm aware of. Bright Carbon produces a lot of really great stuff. What I'm going to show you is a lot of times, and I think I'm going to assume that when we go on those specific graphic source hunt and peck journeys through the interwebs, looking for that just right graphic for that project you're working on, you can spend 3 hours looking for. It's not so much finding the right icon or finding the right graphic. You might find the one you like, but then you need a theme. You need a collection of those graphics in that same style or that same theme. And that's where you start going down rabbit holes, because you might find one icon here you like, you might find another graphic over here you like, but they're completely two different styles. But you want them to fit and look together, look like they came out of the same set, if you will. So those 3 hours could be used creating your own from scratch. And PowerPoint is probably, I think it's underrated in terms of a graphics editing tool. Now, it's got, just like any tool, it's got some limitations. But learning just a few little tools in PowerPoint and then the ideas, we can put together a pretty good set. So I sketched out some ideas. And then we're going to take those sketches and convert those to graphics in PowerPoint. So that's the plan. I don't know that we'll get through all of it, but we can give it a shot. So whenever you're ready, I'm ready.
Go for it.
Take it away, Kevin.
Now let's see the new screen. Share the screen, and my screen is. Oh, hang on! Goodness sakes. There we go. Let's try it again. We're going to go like that, and we're going to go like that. Can you see my screen? Wait for that to
There we go.
Good. So this is it's just an image of a set of little sketches I did real quick this morning. So like, let's say this is the theme or the set that I want, and I can't find these in any one source. So I need to create these from scratch. So let's start with this tree looking thing here. You say, well, there's no shape in PowerPoint that looks like this tree. Well, that's what we're going to create. So we just take this first little sort of teardrop triangle shape here at the top. Let's start there. And what shape does that occupy? And this goes back to sort of that visual communication messages that I've shared over the years. We have to start, if you think of a bounding box, when I say bounding box, let's look at some fundamentals real quick. So a bounding box are these handlebars, right? It's the height width around a shape. Now that could be any shape in there. So if I were to take another shape, for instance, that's not necessarily a square, like, I don't know, let's take the heart. Notice the bounding box, right? It's the same shape. It occupies, so the heart occupies a square. So we think about that, it's like, what does this shape over here occupy? So if we just kind of line it up, then that first shape right there occupies that shape. So we're going to start with that shape right there. Everybody follow? Does that make sense?
I was just going to say That's not how I would have approached it, and never would have thought in a million years that that's how you would start off doing that, which is why we have you here to tell us.
Well, it's think about, and we don't have time to get into this, but visual language it shares the exact same schematic structure as the written language.
Yeah.
So when we're breaking down words and we're breaking down sentences, it's the same process mentally. We're just doing it with shapes and symbols and things like that. So we're going to break it down, because if you look at the pattern, it's the same shape 4 times. It's just these down here get a little bigger. So we're going to start with this little one right here.
All right.
Zoom in. Now there's a tool in PowerPoint you might be familiar with. It's called the Edit Shape tool up here. So we're on the shape format, Edit Shape, and then Edit Points. And what that does is it changes these handlebars to these little anchors. And what we want to do is give it that, and that's this is the limitation. If you click away, it goes back to the regular shape. But if I take this anchor, and you'll see this handlebar, I can now bend that shape.
I did not know you could do that in PowerPoint.
And we want to bend this shape. So we want to get that curve at the bottom, right? Now it's back to, now it's a shape. Now I've got a bend on the bottom of that. So I kind of use our model over here. Let me zoom back in over here.
Nice.
Let's see what this looks like.
Okay, come on, everybody in the chat, give it up. How many of you did not know you could make edit points in a PowerPoint shape? I can't be the only one that didn't know that.
Believe it or not, it's been around for a while. It's just one of again, it's underrated because that's not what we typically think of PowerPoint. So there we go. We got kind of that nice bend there. It doesn't have to be perfect, right? Now, the next thing we want to do is we want this shape right here, that curve. Now, we could do it both ways. We could edit this anchor again. Shape format. Oh, come on. Shape format, edit points. We could bring this point over here and then anchor it back here. We delete that point, make this a point. So that takes a little bit longer. However, there's a faster way to do it. So now we're going to take another shape. Let's get our oval shape. And we want to put that oval right about, just kind of get that same curve right there. We're looking about the same curve right about there. Doesn't have to be perfect, just something right about like that.
Looks good.
Now we're going to copy that, make 2 of those. Now, see, it comes down to this point. So the idea is like we want the bottom of that to line up with that corner right there. And then we want this one to line up with that corner so it's centered, almost centered. The problem is now the point is right here. We don't want that because it's way up here. So we're a little bit off. It takes a little bit of fiddling. Let's just fiddle with this here a minute. Maybe I need a bigger curve. Let me make
if you made those shapes like semi-transparent, could you do that over the tree?
Yes. I'm looking for.
I don't want to take.
There we go. You see that shape right there?
Yeah.
This is the shape. This is the shape I'm looking for right there. So I'm kind of masking it.
Yep.
Right there. Down a little bit. Too far. Go back up. Not good enough, right? So we're going to do one at a time.
Oh, can you cut it out?
I'm trying to be too perfect here. Hang on. So we're going to grab this one in the back. We're going to grab this one in the front. Then we're going to come up here and we see these union, combine, fragment, intersect, and subtract. right? We want to subtract this one. Bam. Now we're going to do the same thing with this one. And subtract. Bam. We got the top
It's
of
like
our
Photoshop.
It's a little off. Yeah, it's a little crooked, but that's okay. It's a Charlie Brown tree.
It's a tree. Yeah.
Brown tree. No, the
And,
rest.
and couldn't you grab the little rotation bar at the top there and just kind of rotate it a little bit to the left to straighten it out?
Yeah, you could if you wanted to.
I mean, I'm all for the Charlie Brown Christmas tree look myself.
All right, so let's give it a color. What color are we going to do our tree? We're going to do a green color. Let's do I don't know, a good forest green color there like that. Take the outline out like that.
See, it's a good show when people put "my mind is blown" in the chat. So
now it's just duplication of effort right now. We got our one
all
shape.
the same shape.
Oops. We get this one.
And who's playing along at home and making the Christmas tree with Kevin?
Making Christmas tree.
Curious. I'm afraid to play along and stream this at the same time because it might crash my computer. So I'm just.
So there we go. Now what we want to do is grab those 4 shapes and go back to our merge shapes. Now we want a union, and we put them all into one, and voila, we have a Christmas tree shape.
Nice. Okay, so we got a question. Annie asks if we could go back over how you cut it out, but I was just going to say, that drop down that he just clicked for the union, it's at the very bottom. It says subtract.
Yeah, let's go back. Let's see where Anno. So here's a good way of practice. Grab a couple shapes like this, right? And let's say you want to take out this corner right here. Right, so you click on the bottom one, then the top one. So you select both.
Okay, so you do like a shift click, is what you're saying.
Yeah, control click, shift click, select both.
Okay.
Then in your shape format tab, where it says merge shapes, I encourage you to play around with the different, what does these mean, right? So if we do combine, that makes it one shape, right? If we do combine, our union was one shape. Combine is we combine the shapes but take out the overlap.
Okay.
Okay. If we do merge fragment, it takes out, it leaves, there we go.
It makes it shape.
Fragments, right? So it splits it into 3 in the overlap piece. You want to do that.
Now, how does it know which one is being cut? Is it the one that's on top that is the cutter, if you will?
Yeah, that's the tricky part. PowerPoint is backwards, and I always get confused. So if you're using like Illustrator or Photoshop is like if you want to subtract, it's like subtract the front or minus front, minus rear. So it always recognizes which object is on top of the other. So it doesn't matter which one you select first. You select both, and then you say minus front. That's in Adobe, but in PowerPoint, you actually have to you have to select the back one first and then select the front one. Otherwise, it'll flip it and do it the opposite way. And I always get confused. I just do it once. If it works, yay, I did it the first time. If not, I got to do it the other. Intersect takes everything except the pieces that are crossed. And then lastly, we did the subtract, which is subtract. You see where it says minus front? This is the front piece.
It does. You can see in the image which one it does. Okay. Or the icon thing. Annie, does that help? I want to make sure you're able to continue going forward.
And don't forget that this is all being recorded, so you can come back and check the notes later too.
Indeed.
So, Craig, to answer your question, usually what you can do is you create these shapes first, and then where's the 3D? I don't know where the 3D is right now. Then you can convert them to 3D in PowerPoint. Or you can take these flat ones and take them into a 3D program and 3D them.
I was going to say, he's talking about a different 3D program, but that's right. You can convert things to 3D in PowerPoint. Let's
Wait,
not.
I mean, we can do that.
That's for another time. We'll do 3D some other time, Craig. Okay.
So we take, so look at the trunk of that tree, right? Remember, what does that occupy? What shape, right? So think of the bounding box. So right here would be an anchor. It'd be a down little, no, right about there would be an anchor because this is the bottom. That then would be a line that comes over here and then up and then over. So that would be our bounding box. So if we get a shape, we need a shape that we can start with, right? And then we've got these little corners right there. So we can do that same thing, but now we can play around with the same square. Give it a little a little angle right there. Something like that.
I thought you were just going to pull the points in and do the edit shape, but this is a cool way too. Just cut out the little divots.
Wrong way. Yeah, see, here's what I did. I did subtract, but see how I did the other one instead? So I did it backwards that time. So back, then front, then subtract. There we go. That works better.
Jacqueline, we do drink and draws quite a bit. So you can go back through our archive and take a look at some of the original drink and draw episodes if you want to see more of Kevin doing this kind of stuff. It's not all PowerPoint stuff, but yeah, appreciate the feedback.
Do that one, then we do subtract again. Good job. Now we can do the edit shapes, right? Then we come here, edit points. And now we're going to take this corner and we're going to angle it back in a little bit this way. Take this point, angle it back in that way a little bit. There we go. There's our trunk. For better part of sake of this, where's our brown at? We'll give it this color. How about that color?
That's a good looking tree-based color.
That right there. And we want to send that one to back. Well, we'll bring this one to front. How about that? Just do that, bring the front. Ta-da, and then group them. Now, here's the thing with grouping too in PowerPoint. So if I select these two, and then I want to select both of these shapes, and then I want to resize them. See how they get all wonky? They don't stay together. However, if I group them first in one group and then resize, stays together.
Now you can make a forest.
Now you can make a forest. Now I have a group. Do that one, maybe a little smaller. It sits in the background. And what's nice about this too is these shapes are still vector shapes. So I can darken this one so it's kind of in the background a little bit. Take this group, bring this group forward, like so. Grab this tree, maybe another tree in the background over here. A little smaller. Bring this one to the front.
Does anybody else have the happy little trees going through the lines right now?
Let's see. Then the fun part, now you could just put little, I mean, the easy part is, I don't know. I mean, you're just decorating, right? So we can put little ornaments on it like that. And go all the way to town, right? Then just copy and make a bunch of those different colors all over it. Maybe some garland. Hours and hours of fun.
So much more fun than going to the internet and just googly searching for something that fits and losing hours of time searching for that perfect image.
Yeah, but not only that, they're yours. Nobody has
Right.
They're yours. And then you can save that off. So if you wanted to save that picture, you right click, save as picture, and then you can save it as a PNG or an SVG. We can save it as a vector graphic.
didn't know you could do that either.
Right. And then now you can just create your own library of your own art, your own graphics. Right. All right. We got time to make one more?
Yep.
All right. What do we want to do? We want the joy letters, the holly, the wreath.
Let's take a vote in the chat. Who wants the joy, the holly leaves, the ornaments, the gift, or the wreath? Thank you, John.
Joy. Everybody wants to do the letters. How do you do that?
Everybody picks ours. But see, and I think I know why, right? I mean, well, maybe. Everybody correct me if I'm wrong. But I think everybody's first initial go-to would be use a text box and type joy in there and then try to modify the text, right? I know that's not how you think, Kevin, but
if you were, that's great. If you were in Adobe Illustrator, you can choose a font and then create that font into a vector outline and then manipulate those shapes to any way you want. So yes, in Adobe Illustrator, I would start with font. In PowerPoint, you can't edit shapes in font. It stays a font. You can't convert font into shapes in PowerPoint. So that's a limitation with this tool in terms of graphics. So we're going to build these from scratch. So remember, always go back to that. Let's break these down into shapes, right? So if we got the top of the J, it's a rectangle. If we got the curve, this is an oval. And then we got a smaller oval.
Yeah, I would say rectangle too, but then I immediately thought, nope, he's going to show me something better. I know it. And then you said rectangle, and I all of a sudden felt smart.
We're going to create a rectangle. We're going to start with a rectangle. And we use our sketch as just a, we use our sketch as a way to get started like that. Now we can edit the shapes. We want to give it a little style, right? So we give it maybe a little bend there, maybe a little bend there, a little tiny bend over on this side, right? Just give them some bends a little bit, and maybe this way. This kind of goes up this way, a little bend that way, and a little bend that way.
Chris, do you ever get the bends?
Well, that's our first shape, right? We got that one out of the way. Now we need the bottom part of our J. Let's grab an oval and figure out what that shape looks like. Right about there, I would say. So that's a good start there. And then I want the inner part of that. Let's make a smaller one.
This is one of those live streams that's just not going to make a very good audio podcast, but that's okay. Everybody has to go watch it on the YouTube when we put it up there.
There we go. So now I want to take out that middle to start with. So we're going to subtract. So now I've got that part. Obviously, that would be the O too. Oh, you know what? Let's save that because we can use that for later. The O. We're going to do this. Now what I need to do is cut. Right? So I'm going to cut it off. Grab me another rectangle. Think about where I want to cut that off. Come on, let's go. There we go. Think about right about where I want to cut that off. Maybe right about there. I'm going to do that and then subtract. And I went the wrong way. Back first. Back, then front, then subtract. There's our part of our J. Now we edit the shapes. So we'll rotate that into space right about there. Now we're going to edit our shapes, edit our points, if you will. Right. So now we can take this one. Oh, so like if you have extra points, here's the other thing you can do. If you got extra points you don't need, right click on the anchor and delete that point. Right. So if there's extra ones that show up that you don't need, just get rid of it. And we're going to put that right there. I don't need this one. We're going to bring this one down here. Oh, I don't need that one. A bunch of extra ones that showed up. Let's see. We're going to put that one right there. We're going to follow follow that line. We're going to do this. We're going to follow this line.
And
That. And I think we can just pull these up in here because we're going to combine all this.
right.
Let's see, get rid of that point. There we go. Bring this up here. This one's out of, yeah, we kind of mess it up here. Let's do this. There we go. Let's bring that anchor. See how you can, that's where a sketch comes in handy, right? So you just kind of put that there. Yeah, I'm listening to myself talk on the audio. Yeah, put that there, do this, then do this over here, and then kind of go that way. There we go.
Yeah, if you have to listen to the audio version of this week's episode, just picture this, that, and there as places within PowerPoint.
Then we do that. Put those two together and then combine union. Yay! There's our yay. Ta-da.
Now, see, you'd never be able to find a font to
You'll
do
never
that.
be able to find that font. Now let's
Right?
grab this. Oh, we kind of come over here. Remember, we already made this a little bit ago. We can
Except just like images and clip art, I probably would have searched forever to find the perfect font that I could go mess with this in Photoshop to make this exact same thing, and it would take me like all day just to do Joy.
Now it only takes you an hour and drink and draw.
And only half an episode at that.
Yeah, let's see. We're going to grab this.
Right?
Turn that about right there. Let's get this out of the way. I can't see what I'm doing. Let's get that out of there. Just look for the shapes. What do the shapes, what makes up the shapes? That's all you're looking for to start with, right? That's all you need just to get a general framework. Think of the structure.
I'm wondering, and not to hopefully this doesn't derail us too much, but I wonder, is there, like, we talk about like neurodiversity and stuff like that as well. When you say things like look for the shapes, I wonder, is it more difficult for some people to see the shapes than others within this? So this is true?
Yeah, we don't have time to get into the science of it, but yes.
Wow.
And there's other, and I can't, it starts with an A, and it's escaping me at the moment. But if I were to say, all right, think of an apple, there are people that cannot visualize what that is in their head, even though they know what an apple is. They have to see the apple to then associate that object. But if they don't have the object in front of them to associate it, they can't see it in their head. There's a couple of friends of ours that are like that, and I can't remember the name of it.
So I wonder then if these are the people that are also the ones who will say things like, I'm not a creative person, or I can't do that.
Well,
and
that's a different mindset. In my view, that's a different mindset because
it can be trained.
You can be trained. I think I believe it's a skill. Well, drawing for one is a skill. And it just comes down to practice. And we've talked about
right. But I guess what I'm saying is that if you have this sort of visual impairment of not being able to see the shapes to do this type of thing, can that, I hate to use the word fixed, but it's the only word I can come up with. So can that be fixed? Can someone be trained to see the shapes?
I don't know. I don't know if you could do that. Let's see. Let's do this. We're gonna make that white. Then we're gonna make the border red, but then we're gonna make the border really big, giant ones like that. There we go. Then take those letters. Just think, you could create your whole name.
Wait a minute. I was watching the chat. How did you just knock out the center of that?
I didn't. It's a white fill.
Love it.
It's a white fill. So look at the white. So if I change it.
Yeah. Okay. I get it now. Yeah. It's just all of a sudden I looked away. It was solid and I looked back and it was just the
white
border.
Fill with a really fat.
Ooh, that's nice.
right? And then joined up together like that. And then we can
I dig it.
take that, and then we group that like so. Then we make a copy of that, and then we fill that with a different color, take out the outline. Oh, wait, the outline is the same color. And then make sure the outline is the same 6, right? And then we send that to back. And, oops, our drawing went to the back. Let's send the drawing to the back. There.
You know what it reminds me of? It looks like something from Dr. Seuss.
Now, if you really wanted to, I mean, we could keep going on this, but one of the things you can do here, now that I've got that in the background, if I was doing this like, I don't know, like a paid project, I might come in here and take this back Y, the Y in the background, come back over here, edit the shapes, edit these points, and then you can add a point. So if you right click on the line, add a point now, and then I can bring it to this up here and kind of get it behind there. So it looks like, come on, this is not, I would do this in Illustrator for starters. Bring this.
But we appreciate you doing it in PowerPoint.
There we go, like this. Yeah, something, there you go. See how that kind of connects the corner? And the same thing with, right. Oh, where's that? Let's see. See that white spot right there? Because it's in the background. I don't really care what that letter looks like, so I want to take out that. And then we got the O. I'm going to leave that white space right there. This one maybe. I'm going to take this one and I'm going to add it. Whoops.
So for those of you that are following along at home and creating something, whether you like what your creation or not, it would be super fun if you shared what you're creating online today and just tag it with Idiotic for us. It would be really, really fun to see everybody that played along, and you can choose to finish it if you want, or or just take what you did. I think it would be really fun to see all of that. If y'all don't mind, I know when I ask for these types of things, most people are hesitant to share. But
what's that mess over there? What's the? Oh, that's the drawing in the background. Yeah. I was like, what is that right there?
Something everybody needs to know about Kevin is that he is very pixel perfect in his artwork and where he puts things on the screen. Yes, he is very pixel nerdy.
Group that, and then I'm going to grab this one. I'm going to group all of it together, both groups into one big group.
Oh yes, Lydia, good idea. Yeah, share your artwork in the Idiotic LinkedIn group, because everybody will.
You put little dots on there. Now you got me. Now I'm going to spend the rest of the day fiddling with this thing. See, we're going to put a dot there. We're going to make that red.
Oh yeah, good idea. Let's start a drink and draw hashtag. So we already do the hashtag Idiotic, but maybe for drink and draw, we can start doing this.
Put some little candies on here. Yeah, you can. I mean, you can play around. I mean, at this time, this is the creativity part.
This is where you just get to have fun.
Yeah, there's the skill part, but then when you're doing this, you get inspired. It's like, oh, what if I did that? Oh, what if I did this? Right? And then you can keep adding and then making different versions of it. Well, I see, this is the other thing I hate. See that little paste thing? Get out of there. Whatever. There it is.
They used to tell me in art class, don't eat the paste, Chris.
Well, see, now this is irritating. This is one of those things I don't like about PowerPoint. Get out of there. There we go. Okay. You get the idea, right? You just fill all that in. That's fun. Look at that. Hours of fun. Hours and hours of fun.
Hours of fun. Jacqueline's got the right idea. She's going to be playing on PowerPoint tonight while watching Christmas movies.
There you go. Watch Home Alone. I've watched Home Alone probably 15 times this week. My grandson's favorite.
I was just going to say, that's because the grandkids are over, right?
Yeah, the grandkids are over. All right, so one last one. We got time for one last really quickie. What time we got? Yeah.
Well, if it's a real quickie, we're really close.
All right, I'll do one holly leaf.
All right.
One holly leaf. Remember, there's the shape, right? So the holly leaf makes that shape. And then we grab another, like an oval shape. And then we start identifying, like, see that curve right there? And there's a curve, and there's a curve, and there's a curve, right? So we just do one curve at a time. I always make a copy, because once I start cutting, we go back, front, subtract. Grab, copy, paste, put that one over here because I'm going to need that in a minute. Now just start cutting out pieces. Right? Subtract, grab my shape, make a copy, that one over here. And we want it to kind of go like this. And back, then front, then cut. And then the last one, kind of down here. Back, front, cut, Shazam. We're going to add those points. Here's the fun thing. Watch this. We're going to take that point, bring it all the way over, maybe about right there. We're going to bring this one. We're going to cut that one out like that. And then we're going to take this shape. We're going to make a duplicate of it. And then what are we going to do? We're going to flip it, align it, and then we're going to, where's that thing at? Ah, gosh, I hate when this happens. Rotate. Here we go. Flip, horizontal.
Oh, look at that.
Then we're going to line those two up.
Bam.
Bam. Put those two together. Doesn't matter. Make it a little thicker.
People got the gist. You know, you should just go ahead and keep on working on that and cleaning that thing up while Chris and I wish everybody a very Merry, Merry Christmas and happy holidays and all that good stuff.
Mm-hmm. This is our last episode before the holiday season and the New Year time stretch. But we're back again in the new year with some brand new funky things to talk about.
Funky things. That was fun.
Indeed. Lots of new funky things to talk about. But you know what? We couldn't do this without the help of one particularly fantastic and awesome company. Chris, who helps us out?
Why, that's Domino Learning Systems, sponsors of instructional designers and offices drinking coffee. It's hard to believe, but they help us put this all together. If it's of interest, folks, you know, you can always check out what we can offer you and your team in Domino 1, which means I gotta find the Find that
crazy link. And you can also join us in the idiotic LinkedIn group, like we mentioned before. I'll go ahead and drop that link again. Like I said, like Chris said, we're out for a few weeks. We come back January 18th for the first episode of the new year. I hope all of you guys have a fantastic weekend and a fantastic holiday season.
Yeah. Kevin, as always, thanks so much for joining us. This really is something that we've all got access to PowerPoint. We might not have some of the other PowerPoint. We'll do it.
Yeah, indeed. Thanks, everybody.
Very welcome.
Thanks, Kevin.
Thank you.
As
We'll
always,
see you next year.
Chat room was hopping today. Love it. Thanks, everybody.